It's Friday, October 14. In the headlines, another housing program coming soon. Regionally, an agreement has been inked for direct flights between Guyana and China. And in sports, Shamar Brooks looking to maiden world T20. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a program is being developed by the government to continue providing housing solutions to Jamaicans.
We are looking to develop a program. As I had announced in my budget presentation, we are on our way with it, that those lands will be made available for housing development, and the cost of the land will not be a part of the sale price.
This is in addition to the ongoing new social housing program. That program was developed to improve the housing condition of the country's poor and disadvantaged population by providing quality, affordable and sustainable housing. A total of 100 units have so far been built and delivered under the program.
Even if it is one house we are giving away every week, we are dealing with the poorest of the poor.
The Prime Minister told members that his administration is working to ensure that houses under the upcoming program are affordable.
Keeping the price low and giving you access to mortgages that match your income flow. So we're looking at all those avenues. So I want the Jamaican people to keep faith.
Mr. Holness argues that the process of acquiring land is not enforced to prevent Jamaicans from owning land.
The truth is that if you allow the land to be taken arbitrarily and disorderly and lawlessly, we are limiting the development opportunity for all Jamaicans.
He was speaking in the House of Representatives this week. 221 Jamaicans will be recognized at the National Honors and Awards ceremony on National Heroes Day, Monday, October 17, on the lawns of King's House. Here are the details.
Heading the list of recipients is Monty Alexander CD, who is one of 10 individuals to be conferred with the Order of Jamaica for sterling contribution to the promotion of Jamaican music and the jazz genre interpretations globally. Other notable Jamaicans to receive an OJ are the Honorable Olivia Babsy Grange, CD MP, for sterling contribution to cultural development and political administration in Jamaica. Posthumously, Joan Isabel Duncan for distinguished service to the banking sector and the development of money market in particular. Shelley Ann Fraser Price, CD, for outstanding performance in the field of athletics at the international level. Honorable Mr. Justice Carl Stanhope Harrison, CD, for distinguished service to the legal profession and the advancement of electoral democracy in Jamaica. 30 persons will be conferred with the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander, 35 conferred with the Order of Distinction in the rank of Officer, 6 conferred with the Badge of Honor for Gallantry, 29 conferred with the Badge of Honor for Meritorious Service, and 30 conferred with the Badge of Honor for Long and Faithful Service. 2 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force will receive the Medal of Honor for Gallantry. Meanwhile, 78 members of the uniformed groups representing the Jamaica Defense Force, the JCF, Department of Correctional Services, and the Jamaica Fire Brigade will be bestowed with the Medal of Honor for Meritorious Service. For PBCJ News, I'm Carla Thomas Hewitt.
The Jamaica Post is celebrating more than 300 years of existence, and it has pivoted its business model to encompass the new technological advancements. Jamaica Post Central Sorting Office relaunched its brand on Thursday under the theme Rebranding of Jamaica Post. The Central Sorting Office, CSO, on South Camp Road has officially reopened for business. The CSO has been extensively renovated to facilitate the introduction of technological solutions to automate processes. The facility also received 16 desktop computers to improve efficiency and service delivery. Postmaster General Lincoln Allen said the upgrade signals a major milestone.
The extensive works done at the post office to rebrand the postal service and improve the customer service experience speaks to the department's commitment to our valued stakeholders. The project included tiling, replacement of counters, painting, the upgrading of ICT infrastructure, the general upgrading of the post office facility, among a host of other things. This will improve the overall aesthetics and functionality of the location, while creating a more modern and comfortable environment for all stakeholders.
In addition to traditional services, customers can access the new Premium Service Center at the CSO Post Office.
Our postal service has an extensive network and operations that span the entire country, which means that various other services could be offered, to include the forging of mutually beneficial partnerships. As a result, the PTD was identified as a strategic partner to roll out the National Identification Systems project.
Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Darrell Vaz says the CSO has retained its relevance in the digital age.
We would all agree e-commerce and online shopping have become increasingly prominent in our society, and the postal service is integral to the aiding the delivery of many of these products we purchase online. I believe this is an exciting time for the postal network because technology opens tremendous possibilities for the inclusion of ICT in postal services. With the advancement in technology, drone technology for package deliveries, 3D printing, peer-to-peer delivery networks, and artificial intelligence are some options which can be explored.
To date, 94 post offices across the island have received internet connection, which has resulted in these locations expanding their commercial services and reducing customer wait time. Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, says a facility is being developed to digitize the Registrar General's Department records from 1930, and it's 90% complete and is expected to open in November. He made the announcement during a post-cabinet press briefing held at Jamaica House this week. Giving an update on the National Identification System, Minister Green, who is responsible for the NIDS, said 3 workshops were conducted with banks following the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Jamaica Bankers Association.
We've looked at the legal framework around the National Identification System. We've looked at the verification process, and the most recent workshop looked at the security features of the National Identification Card. So now our banks are fully apprised with what to look for in relation to security when we roll out our National Identification Card.
Mr. Green pointed out that the NIDS regulations were completed and sent to the Attorney General's chambers. He says the regulations will be published for public feedback before it is tabled in the House of Representatives.
I will advise that there are already draft regulations on our website at nidsfacts.com, so those who are interested and want to be early can already look at those draft regulations and give some feedback.
The National Identification System, NIDS, is a unique, reliable, and secure way of verifying an individual's identity. It will establish a reliable database of all Jamaican citizens and will involve the issuance of a unique, lifelong national identification number to every person. Stay with us. We have news from the world of business in the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
VM Group President and CEO Courtney Campbell is urging business leaders in Jamaica to support their team in transitioning to new labor market opportunities, as well as invest in digital reskilling and upskilling programs. Addressing the Jamaica Manufacturers and Employees Association's M&E Awards banquet at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Saturday, October 8th, Campbell noted that before COVID-19, Jamaica's economy suffered from low rates of productivity and high income inequality due in part to the low availability of critical skills required for global competitiveness, and that without digital investment, the company or the country will be left behind. For your market updates, in foreign exchange trading for Thursday, October 13, the US dollar sold for an average of $153.60. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $111.58. The pound sterling traded for $169.91, and the euro sold for an average of $151.03. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by 1,570 points. The junior market index declined by 38 points. The combined market index declined by 1,813 points. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 1,662 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 107 stocks, of which 29 advanced, 60 declined, and 18 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Verbal Preference, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and Derrimont Trading Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Trading firm were 1834 Investments Limited, Blue Power Group Limited, and Elite Diagnostic Limited. The overall volume leaders were Lumber Depot Limited with over 4 million units, Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 3 million units, and JFP Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Plico Investment Fund was once again the only active security trading over 20,000 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Epic Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund was the volume leader with over 9,000 shares being traded, followed by Epic Caribbean Property Fund Development Fund, which traded over 7,000 shares, and Government of Barbados Bond Series B with over 6,000 shares. In regional business, according to the International Monetary Fund (IMF's) World Economic Outlook Report for October 2022, the Latin America and Caribbean region, which was particularly hard hit by the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, is showing signs of economic recovery, with Guyana leading the way.
Over the past few years, Guyana has been recording significant economic growth, primarily attributed to the country's nascent prolific oil and gas sector. This year, the International Monetary Fund, in its new World Economic Outlook report, projects that the country will see a 57.8% rate of economic growth. While this was noted before, it is important to note that the new report signals that this growth rate is the highest for the entire Latin America and Caribbean region. This was announced recently following consultations between an IMF team and local authorities. Importantly, however, this new report shows that Guyana's growth is the highest in the region. The second highest regional growth rate, some 10.5%, is projected for Barbados. The other oil producers in the region, that is Trinidad and Tobago and Suriname, expect growth rates of 4% and 1.3% respectively. Brazil expects a 2.8% growth rate, while Venezuela should see a 6% growth rate. Only Haiti expects negative growth at a rate of minus 1.2%. The entire Latin American Caribbean region is expecting a 3.5% growth rate. While these figures show that more countries in the region are recovering, the IMF noted that the global economy continues to experience numerous turbulent challenges. The report also noted that inflation higher than seen in several decades, tightening financial conditions in most regions, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the lingering COVID-19 pandemic all weigh heavily on the outlook. Other concerns include further food and energy price shocks, which have the ability to prolong the rising cost of goods and services experienced by consumers.
In market data for oil prices dropped due to global recession fears and weak oil demand. Brent crude futures were down $1.49 at $93.08 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell $1.64 to $87.47. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, we start in Barbados. Police have taken more than 70 illegal guns off the streets in less than 3 months. This revelation was made by Deputy Commissioner of Police, Erwin Boyce. It comes against the background of a noticeable decline in reported gun crimes. Trevor Thorpe reports.
On the issue of gun crime, the Deputy Commissioner said the service had been successful in recent times with the removal of a number of guns and ammunition from the streets.
We are absolutely committed to getting that scourge off the streets of Barbados and off the public spaces and in events and those other things. And I am absolutely sure that today we have recovered in excess of 70 guns and over 1,000 rounds of ammunition. And that is leaps and bounds of the last year figure. And we want to continue to do that.
And about recent reports of carjacking, he said the matter is under investigation and he's calling on the public to share with the police any information about that incident or any other crime.
We are trying to narrow the information to bring a resolution or solve the matter. I can say on the other hand, the voice note investigation is with the Office of the Deputy, and I have had a look at the investigation, and we are yet to make some determinations on the findings.
As it relates to new body camera technology, officers are being trained.
We are finding that there's some excitement by the police officers to wear the body cams. Obviously, there are instances where you have to sell it, you have to sell what we intend to do. It's not to say that you're not speaking the truth when without the body cams. It's just to reinforce and to give us a broader perspective as we interrogate events, especially complaints against police officers.
The hands-on training in body camera technology is being held at the District A Police Station. It is being attended by the rank and file of the service and will end tomorrow.
An air services agreement inked between Guyana and China on Thursday will pave the way for the establishment of direct flights between the two countries. Guyana anticipates that this agreement will have a greater impact on the tourism sector.
Guyanese friends often use two words to describe China. One is friendly, the other is distant. The geographical distance cannot stand in the way of the deep friendship between China and Guyana. The two sides have been exploring the possibility of civil aviation cooperation for years. In 2014, civil aviation authorities of the two countries signed MOU during the ICO air service negotiation event in Indonesia. In 2019, the two sides began negotiation and preparation for the agreement. Today's signing of the agreement is an important step to implement the consensus of President Xi Jinping and President Ali on deepening bilateral cooperation, and to promote the Belt and Road Initiative, laying a legal foundation for the deepening of our civil aviation cooperation.
This agreement complements the more than 50 air services agreement Guyana has established with other ICAO subscribing states for the developing of air link amongst ourselves. We are playing our role in getting that landscape in place. This agreement addresses matters such as grant of rights, airline designation and authorization, revocation, suspension of authorization or imposition of conditions, capacity and frequency provisions, recognition of certificates and license, aviation safety and aviation security, tariffs, among many other matters. But the reality is there is no direct flight between the two countries to date. The signature of this agreement puts the legal framework in place to address this challenge. So China and Guyana would not only be friendly, and the other word was distant, but will become nearer.
In Belize, the Department of Transport, in collaboration with Inter-American Development Bank, is seeking to modernize the country's public transportation system. Although the program is currently in its information dissemination phase, members of the technical support team shared details on the phased approach to the modernization undertaking.
Another empirical study shows that more than 98% of the buses fleet do not meet all safety requirements as would be necessary. So we want to pin it there, and that's the transition point to what the ministry is saying. Look, we need safer buses on the roads, and we need safer transportation systems. As such, we also need comfort in some degree. And in order to have this comfort, we're looking at four-tiered approach. We're looking at a premier service that really would be, for instance, from Orange Walk in the morning at 6 o'clock. You have 5 runs. Let's say one of those runs would be a premier service, a higher quality caliber of bus. Second to that, and that might see an increase in fare, but those are for people like yourselves who can afford a little more, right? The finer things in life. Second to that would be Economy 1. Now the Economy 1 is the regular it's the express bus that we currently have. However, that will not see an increase in fare as is projected currently, as you can see on the screen. But what it does allow is for us to increase the quality of service in terms of the comfort, in terms of the efficiency, in terms of the overall aesthetics and feel of it. Second to that, third rather, is the Economy 2. What Economy 2 is going to see is the regular bus, or the current regular bus. However, they will move a transition away from the general school buses to more either coach type buses or the commercial Bluebird type buses. It may look the same, but really the comfort is really a lot different, because if you have a little bit longer feet, you don't necessarily want to be squinged all the time. And lastly is the regular runs, or the current village runs.
I like the 3 regular, regular.
The top-tier system.
It's top-tier. The village runs, it's the general the runs, but we're not seeing any much change there, except the fact that we need to ensure that the buses are safe.
In international news, UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has dismissed her Chancellor ahead of an expected announcement on changes to an economic package that triggered turmoil in financial markets. His departure comes after a month in the job and 3 weeks after he announced a tax-cutting mini-budget that sent the pound plunging to record lows against the dollar. Al Jazeera's Jonah Hill reports.
Remember, just 24 hours ago, Kwasi Kwarteng was in Washington at a meeting of the International Monetary Fund, its annual meeting. He gave an interview there. He was asked whether there was going to be a U-turn on the budget, whether his job was in trouble. He said, there is no change of thinking on the budget and I'm going nowhere. He said he would proceed with plans to produce a mid-term budget statement on the 31st of October, at which he would try to calm markets by explaining exactly how these tens of billions of dollars in tax giveaways, tax cuts were going to be paid for in terms of a growth plan involving fleshed out so-called supply side reforms. Well, it turned out he was quickly on his way home after all. Got here about an hour and a half ago. The news swiftly emerged that very much indeed had changed, particularly for Kwasi Kwarteng himself. He'd been sacked. In point of fact, he put out a statement saying this, that he was asked to stand aside. You've asked me to stand aside, he said to the Prime Minister, and I have accepted. He noted, though, that her vision of optimism, growth and change was right, that the status quo of high taxes and low growth had to change, and indeed he said it would still have to change.
In sports, West Indies batsman Shamar Brooks is looking forward to his maiden sojourn in the World T20 in Australia. Brooks was drafted in as a replacement for Guyanese's Shimron Hetmyer, who missed his rescheduled flight to join his teammates. The Barbados right-hander is keen on helping the Windies get past the qualifiers next week to make it into the tournament proper. Please note that this interview was done before the West Indies' first game against the United Arab Emirates, which the Caribbean side won by 17 runs.
I mean, as a child looking on and watching the greats play in this place called Australia, and as I said, the rivalries that West Indies would have had against Australia, and I mean, it's just an honor and a privilege to be here representing my country and my region. especially in the World Cup, and definitely looking forward to doing great things in this World Cup for the West Indies.
So it's first World Cup, obviously, of any kind. How do you see it going? How do you see the West Indies handling the first round and then looking to progress?
Well, I think it starts with the mood in the camp. I think the mood in the camp is a very good one, despite what happened in the 2 games against Australia, even though that's not the main focus why we were here. But as I said before, it's just to get into some winning ways and make sure the guys are in the right frame of mind for this game starting tomorrow against UAE.
And you bring good form, century and match winning 47 in the CPL at the back end, so I'm sure you're feeling good.
Yeah, definitely feeling good. Just 4 days off, then some flights down to Australia. But as I said, in that session I had just now, it was good. Pitches were very good, good frame of mind, good spirits, and just excited and raring to go tomorrow.
And for those who don't know you, you've been around for the better part of a decade. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, as a person, as a cricketer, and also off the field, some of the things that you're cool doing.
Well, I'm a very easygoing guy. Guys like to say I have a sense of humour. I like to make them laugh, and yeah, that's me basically off the field. On the field, I play it very hard. Try to get my guys in the right frame of mind and G them up to do the job at hand. And
a little bit of what it means to be in this World Cup. What do you think that you need to do in that first round to progress?
Well, for me, honestly speaking, I really didn't think that a World Cup of a T20 nature would have been coming in my direction so soon. But I guess with performances, nothing is beyond the player, and I'm happy to be here. And in terms of the first round, as I said before, tomorrow I think is the start of things for our team in terms of going in the right direction, in terms of qualifying for this World Cup. And we need to start on the right foot in terms of winning against UAE. And I guess once we get that monkey off our back in terms of winning that game tomorrow, things should fall into place nicely for the team. The guys are in good spirits, as I said before. We're gelling well together and just excited to get out there on the park tomorrow.
The Street Child World Cup is a football tournament that aims to help vulnerable young people from around the globe. The U.S. team is made up of children from families of immigrants and migrant workers and will be represented by 10 players aged 16 to 18. One of the players tells us about her pride at representing all Americans.
The Street Child World Cup is a football tournament that aims to help vulnerable young people from around the globe. The U.S. team is made up of children from families of immigrants and migrant workers. One of the players tells us about her pride at representing all Americans.
I'm Eileen Lopez, and I'm from New York City. I'm a soccer player participating in the Street Child World Cup, competing for USA.
It has Juventus goals.
My parents, they migrated to this state and country from Mexico. As a child of an immigrant, it's always very difficult because people see you differently and see you as, people see you as a threat sometimes too, because they think that you want to take things that are theirs. I play defense, center back, right back, left back.
If they say yes?
My coach, Ziham, gave me the opportunity to be part of this competition. I didn't know for sure that I was going to be going. And at this event, they announced it, and I was very shocked because I was not aware.
They just didn't.
I'm very excited to be part of this Doha experience.
What size is that? Is it fine?
We'll be going against teams like Brazil, Colombia, Bolivia, Mexico. Very nervous about Brazil because I feel like they have soccer in their blood. But I think this competition will be a learning experience and very good competition to help us put our game or level our game up. I'm very excited for the FIFA World Cup. I wish we could have stayed longer to at least experience one of the games, but I'm still going to be watching every one of the World Cup games. All my teammates I think all of us are Mexican American or at least have a Hispanic background. I feel like everyone in the other countries are expecting, you know, Americans, Americans born in America, parents from America, but we're going with parents, immigrant parents, to make them proud and show them what we can do.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. And remember, we are the People's Station.